November
contemplative,
15th, Saint Albert the Great. Albert the Great was born around the year 1206 in the Swabia region of Germany. After a careful formation, he went to study law at the University of Padua in Italy. There he became familiar with Blessed Jordan of Saxony, general of the Dominicans, whose counsel led him to enter the Dominican order. Soon he became known for his filial devotions to Our Lady and attention to monastic observance. He was sent to Cologne to finish his studies, earning a reputation for knowledge in the natural sciences greater than all his peers. After completing his studies, he was sent to teach theology at many regions in Germany, including Strasbourg and Cologne. In the year 1245, he was sent to the University of Paris, where he demonstrated the accord between faith and reason, and between the sacred and profane sciences. The most illustrious of his disciples, St. Thomas Aquinas, would succeed him as professor at the university. St. Albert returned to Cologne in the year 1248 in order to direct the studies of his order as regent of the Stratium Generale. In the year 1254 he was elected Dominican Provincial of Germany, and in 1260 was appointed Bishop of Regensburg. He resigned the bishopric after 3 years and returned to teach at Cologne. Often he was called to act as arbitrator and peacemaker between various German princesses and bishops. He attended the Second Council of Lyon, where he took an active part in the deliberations. He died in Cologne on November 15, 1280. On December 16, 1931, he was canonized and declared Doctor of the Church by Pope Pius XI. Since the year 1300, under a stained-glass window in the Dominican Church of St. Andres in Cologne, one can read these words. This sanctuary was built by Bishop Albert, flower of philosophers and wise men, model of good customs, brilliant and splendorous destroyer of heresies, and scourge of evil men. Place him, O Lord, in the number of thy saints. By nature he had an instinct for great things. Thus, like Solomon, he begged God for the gift of wisdom, which intimately unites man to God, expands hearts, and raises the souls of the faithful to heights. Wisdom taught him how to unite an intensive intellectual life with a profound spiritual life, for he was at the same time an initiator of a powerful intellectual movement, a great contemplative, and a man of action. As we can see, the life of Albert the Great is expressed well in the description of how he excelled in these 3 things. He was an intellectual, contemplative, and a man of action. This made him one of the greatest figures of the Middle Ages, one of those who consolidated the Middle Ages. God gave him the gift to be remarkable in many things. Had he shown in only one of these things, he would have been a man of immortal fame. To mention just 2 of his intellectual accomplishments, St. Albert is considered the founder of scholasticism, and he was the master of St. Thomas Aquinas, who in his turn brought scholasticism to its apex. If he were only this great intellectual, he would have gone down in history for this. But he was more. He was also renowned for his religious spirit. He was a great contemplative, a great saint, which would give him all possible glory. Finally, he was also an illustrious bishop who acquired an enormous fame in his homeland. Why does Providence make such a brilliant man who stands out on 3 different roads at the same time? It is to show that the interior life should have precedence over the others. We understand that if St. Albert had not been a man with a strong interior life, he could not have been the extraordinary scholar that he was. The interior life gives the means for a man to execute God's will for him to perfection. Doing this, a man fully develops his natural talents. Often, God gives additional charismas and extraordinary graces to those who are faithful in order to multiply their natural qualities and help them accomplish their missions. One of the sayings of Dom Choutard, who was a Cistercian monk who wrote the famous book, The Soul of the Apostolate, he was talking once with a French politician, Georges Clemenceau, who who was a negotiator at the Treaty of Versailles. Knowing that Dom Jutard was a very busy man, Clemenceau asked him, "How do you manage to do so many things in just 24 hours?" The father answered, "It is because I pray the rosary. If you would also pray it, you would find more time to accomplish your tasks." It is a paradox because to pray the rosary takes time from other activities. Some might think Dom Jutard was just joking. This is not true. In that apparent contradiction, there is a profound truth. If we take time to develop our interior life, God will take care of the other things we need, and will multiply our capacity to accomplish what we are called to do. This is the great truth that we learn from St. Albert's life. Those beautiful words written in the 1300 under that stained glass window at St. Andrew's Church reveal how much the modern religious mentality has changed. Today, who would say that a saint is a brilliant, splendorous destroyer of heresies and scourge of evil men? Such a eulogy, which fills our soul with Catholic joy, has completely disappeared from the present-day religious panorama. That this is so reveals the difference between the mentality of the progressivism that unfortunately dominates the Church today and the true Catholic spirit. It is not difficult to see which one is the position of the saints. Let us ask St. Albert the Great to help us see the full extension of the progressivist errors and combat them with the same brilliancy and splendor that he combated the heresies of his time.